This is the Uptick Newswire Stock Day podcast, sponsored by InvestorsHangout.com. Subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube to stay up to date on penny stock news and interviews, public information on OTC, pink sheets, and microcap stocks from around the world, with your host, Everett Jolly.
On today's show, I'm bringing back a guest that was on my show back in May of 2018. We're talking about Tetra Bio-Pharma. They trade on the OTCQB under the ticker symbol TBPMF. And with us today is Mr. Bob Béchard. He is the Executive Vice President of Corporate Development and Licensing. Bob, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Give my listeners a little bit about statement of who you guys are, how do you make your money, and then I want to get into the Q&A.
So essentially, we're, when someone asks me what does Tetra do, my elevator pitch, if you like, the 10-second pitch is,
Sure.
We're making honest drugs out of cannabis and cannabinoids. So essentially what we're doing is we're taking a pharmaceutical approach to developing cannabinoid and cannabis-derived products, right? And by pharmaceutical, I mean going through the regular drug development pathway that any pharma company would do and get these drugs approved and provide the data. And that's what's missing today. Most of the docs will not provide access to medicinal cannabis, primarily because the data isn't there to support it. There's a lot of anecdotal data, a ton of it. In fact, I've been in the biopharma industry for over 20 years now, and I've never seen an area where there's so much anecdotal data, but there's so little clinical data, real clinical data, where you do, double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical studies, and you have primary and secondary endpoints, and you act like a real pharma company. But the thing here is what we're doing is we're looking to get these drugs approved, and which will definitely make a huge difference between what we're doing and what people typically are taking today is what's referred to as medicinal cannabis.
Right. Well, you hear a lot of the buzzword, medical cannabis. What is it that you guys do that's different than medical cannabis?
So medicinal cannabis, let's talk about the probably 4 or 5 points that are the major difference in what medicinal is what we are doing. Number one, we're going to have a full data package. If and when we get approved, we'll have a full data package that we can show to a doc. You call a grower of medicinal cannabis, and ask them if they've got any data for, say, you're suffering from chronic pain. They'll say, no, we don't have any data, but we have patients that come to us, do have chronic pain issues, and are repeat buyers, so our product is working. The second difference is, certainly in the smoked cannabis area, is dosing. Our product is formulated into a pellet, and this pellet, the dose difference between one pellet to the next pellet, which is put in a blister pack, is within pharmaceutical standards, i.e. less than 4%. When you're rolling your medicinal marijuana, you have no idea what your dosing is. Thirdly, we believe that docs will come to our product if we can demonstrate to them through data that our product is effective and, the disease indication for which it was approved. The big difference, really, is insurance. Right now, medicinal cannabis is not covered by the insurance company. Our key opinion leaders are telling us that people are spending anywhere between, call it $4,000 and $12,000 a year. Those that take it chronically. That's not covered by insurance companies. Our product, if we get approved by the regulatory authorities through the FDA and Health Canada and the European Medicines Agency, it will be covered by the insurance companies. That will represent quite a large saving to the consumer of this type of product.
Let's stay on that subject just for a second. As you know, there's a huge crisis in the opioid market situation. Do you feel like cannabinoid-derived products can play a role in alleviating that crisis?
We do, actually. And, we attend conferences regularly. And, the general consensus of the scientific community is yes, cannabinoids can play a role. What's required is the data. Right? So what we're doing in our various clinical trials is we're actually either going up against an opioid. For instance, we have a trial that we're going to be starting in breakthrough cancer pain where we're going up against fentanyl. And what we want to demonstrate in that trial is that our onset of action, the time to relief, is much quicker using our product than fentanyl. In our other trials, we're actually monitoring the usage of opioids to see if we've actually reduced their usage and or eliminated their usage altogether. But overall, we believe that cannabinoid-derived products, whether it's us or somebody else, will play a role in opioid sparing and or replacement.
You know, recently you guys acquired a new company. I just want to know if you could bring myself and my listeners up to date on that.
So we acquired a company called Penag Pharma. This is a group out of Halifax, Nova Scotia, that's been investigating and researching cannabinoids for the past 25 years. With that acquisition, we have really strengthened our pipeline and broadened our pipeline to take on products such as an eye drop. This is a CBD-THC combination for treating 3 different diseases we're going to be looking at. One is eye pain and inflammation, for which there is nothing today on the market, uveitis, as well as dry eye. They've also developed a topical cream for treating what's called general neuropathic pain. An example of that would be shingles. So the idea with this THC-CBD combination cream is you would apply it when you have a shingles outbreak, which can be quite painful, and that would provide relief to the pain that the patient is experiencing. Both these we hope to be taking into clinical trials in the upcoming year.
And could you shed maybe a light on where do we go from here? Is there anything that we didn't get a chance to touch upon that you would like to illustrate before I let you go?
Essentially, when you look at the whole cannabis space, and there's questions about valuations and the like. And I think we make a very, very interesting play for those that believe in the medicinal benefits of cannabis and cannabinoid-derived products. We believe that Tetra brings a very interesting perspective to it, and our goal in life is to become, call it the North American version of GW Pharmaceuticals, who are kind of the granddaddies in this space, based in the UK, and recently had a drug, Epidiolex, approved in the US, their first approved drug in the US. And they've got a market cap of approximately $4 billion right now. The approval of that particular product is what's driving the market cap. We at Tetra, we're focused on large market indications. When you look at pain, it's a huge market, and it's treated with a variety of drugs. And in many indications, there's still a very large unmet medical need.
As for my guests, the company that we're highlighting here today on Stock Day is Tetra Bio-Pharma. You can find them on the CSE under the ticker symbol TBP. You can also find them on the OTCQB under the ticker symbol TBPMF. And Bob, I want to thank you for stopping by today, coming on the show. It's a pleasure to have you on here. I wish you nothing but continued success. Hopefully you'll come back on the show in 40 or 50 days and give us an update on your company.
Happy to do so. And just a slight correction, we're actually now trading on the TSX Venture Exchange. Since the last time we spoke with you, we were trading on the Canadian Stock Exchange, but we've upgraded to what's called the TSX Venture Exchange.
And that ticker symbol is still TBP?
TBP, that's correct.
Thank you very much for the correction. And like I said, looking forward for you to come back on the show in 40 or 50 days.
Great. We look forward to it.
This program is entirely sponsored and produced by Uptick Newswire, LLC, which is responsible for the content. The opinions and information provided on this program are those of the guests and those of the respective companies they represent, and do not necessarily reflect those of the staff or management of Uptick Newswire. Uptick Newswire encourages all listeners of this program to do their due diligence and research when determining investment strategies that will work for them, or to seek the assistance of an investment professional. The guests of this program may have paid for its distribution and are not directly affiliated with Uptick Newswire or this station.